today we start our English version of podcast. As we promised you, we decided to record podcasts with the people from all over the world, speaking about the educational process in different countries. As we know this feeling when you are thinking about to taking a master degree or bachelor degree somewhere in the whole world, and you don't know which country to choose, which educational system you prefer more. So we decided to help you. And from this moment, we will record podcasts with guests from all over the world, speaking about the educational process, educational system, and living in different countries. So they will tell you some details. They will tell us about the lifestyle in their country, and maybe this podcast will help you to choose exactly this country. And we decided to open our new format of podcast with Turkey. Why Turkey? Firstly, I have been living there for 7 months as I decided to move there as exchange student, and I was studying in Bilkent University. And secondly, when I decided to do this, I really met face to face with a huge amount of stereotypes about living in Turkey, not only in the aspect of security, maybe in the aspect of lifestyle, but especially in the aspect of educational process. There are a huge amount of stereotypes about Turkey, that their universities are not so special ones, like, specializing in different fields. But you really need to know that the Turkish universities are really good in engineering, in science studies, and I'm as a law student, and I have a huge amount of friends from international relation faculty. I really want to say that these faculties maybe in some cases are much more perspective, because the educational system is really amazing. And today my co-host is Naila. She decided to move to Turkey a couple of years ago, and she's studying in Bilkent University too. And firstly, before asking Naila some questions about the educational process, about living in Turkey, and about her decision, I would like to tell some words about our university, about Bilkent, and about Ankara, because a huge amount of people know about Istanbul because of the fact that it's the center of tourism and business, but much less people know about Ankara, which is the capital of the country. So firstly, from Russia, it's very hard to find direct flights to Ankara. So in the majority cases, you have a transfer from Istanbul to Ankara, and it's not so touristic place. You will not find there tourists, I swear. But it's really amazing and chill place. I mean, if you're kind of tired of, New York vibe or Moscow vibe, Ankara will be really amazing example of the city where you can just chill, going for a walk, studying, because all students call Ankara the city of students and parliament, just because of the fact that only students and the members of parliament are living in Ankara. There are not a huge amount of places of interest, for example, and maybe when you will walk around the city, you will come up with the idea that this place is not so attractive as Istanbul, for example, or Antalya. But the aim of this city is kind of another one, because it's really a place of working perspectives and I think university opportunities, because of the fact that a huge amount of really amazing universities are in Ankara. And for example, Bilkent University, it's one of the best in Turkey and one of the best in the world. It's every time in the list and tops of the whole world of universities. So a huge amount of people know about Bilkent, to be honest, because it's really I think every time he's on the first or on the second place of the rank of Turkish universities. So Bilkent is a private university which is located in Ankara. It was founded by Professor İhsan Doramaci in 1984 with the aim of creating, a really big center of excellence in higher educational and research. And I can swear that it's really became the center of education, and a huge amount of ideas about this place is the fact that it's a place where you can find many really prospective students which know everything about their field, because their educational, for example, perspectives are very high and their IQ is very high. Students every time said to me that it's kind of hard to study in Bilkent, and maybe Naila will tell us a little bit about this aspect of studying in Bilkent. It was the first non-profit private university established in the country, and the name Bilkent is an abbreviation of Bilim Kenti, which means in Turkish the city of science, and it's really the whole city. That's why Bilkent students call the Bilkent city in city, because it's really kind of city, the whole city in Ankara. So it's constantly ranked among the top Turkish universities, as I told you, since its establishment. And for example, in 2011, it was listed as the top 100 university in the world by the World University Rankings. So that's why we decided to start with Turkey, and I decided to invite Naila, because she is a kind of fresh air to this podcast. She's new blood. She came to Ankara, to Bilkent University not long ago, and she faced some difficulties when she decided to move to Turkey. And that's why when her experience is kind of fresh, when she remember all the details, she can tell us some subtleties about moving to another country. So Naila, hey, how is it going?
Hi, Anna, and to everyone. And at first, I would like to say thank you for inviting me to this participation in your podcast. It's a big pleasure for me. Okay, I want to say first that I'm studying Bilkent for my second year, and my faculty is interior architecture and environment design. So, yeah.
Okay, I really appreciate that you came to our podcast and you decided to open with me this new English version of podcast. It's really a kind of responsibility. I can feel it right now, but I think it will be one of the best opens of any projects. So really thank you for your help. And firstly, I'm interested by myself in this question. That's why be please super sincere about answering this question. So moving to another country when you're 18, how does it feel like? Because we know this feeling, a huge amount of Russians, they decided to move from their cities to Moscow or to St. Petersburg to study in best universities, but it's another, just moving to another city where the mentality is the same, where the language is the same, and just the system of living, it's the same, but you decided to move to another country. And I think when you're 18, it feels kind of, oh my god, I can't even describe it really. I think you felt kind of you felt kind of insecure about it. That's why I really want to know your feelings when you decided to move, and how did you decide to move? So how does it feel like? Please tell me.
So, okay, let me explain why I actually decided to move to another country. It's because of education abroad. I wanted to have a degree which will, in Europe system, they will acknowledge this degree, and I can find a job there as well. So in 17 or 18 years, moving to another country feels not that scary that it can be seen at first glance, but it all depends how you prepare yourself, which thoughts are in your mind, do you realize which difficulties and some challenges you will struggle and face. If you acknowledge this, and if you know that there will be no help in the first months, let's say, that you'll be alone, if you know this before going there, then you kind of save yourself for being insecure and feeling scary. So for me, it was not that scary and difficult because of this reason. Mm, which difficulties I struggled at first? Maybe it was something like, as you say, it's different country and different mentality, and people there are too different for me. But you know that I'm from Azerbaijan, and we have kind of similarities in our mentality and culture. So maybe that's why it was not that much scary and difficult for me.
But did you feel like, kind of suspense about your moving? Like you don't directly know where you're moving. I mean, of course, you can find the information about, for example, Ankara and Bilkent University, but you don't know exactly where you're going. So tell me some words about why Turkey. I mean, yeah, okay, we can accept the fact that Azerbaijan and Turkey are kind of similar. Please don't push me. I'm speaking in the way of mentality, and I'm speaking about the kind of lifestyle, okay? But okay, so they're kind of similar, but anyway, they are two different countries, and I think that the educational process are super different. So tell me about why Turkey in this aspect.
Okay, as I said, the first reason was that degree you earn in university in Bilkent in Turkey is recognized in all of Europe. It was actually the main point for me to go somewhere abroad to have this degree. And the second reason was some exchange programs and Erasmus programs, because in Azerbaijan we don't have this kind of programs that much, but in Turkey you have varied like programs, and as you know, you also come here to Turkey with these exchange programs as well. The third reason is again ranking, and my faculty, architecture faculty, is really like famous. This department is too famous in Turkey as well. So, and why Turkey? I knew before going there a little bit Turkish language, like just a little bit, but I knew that. So, and maybe I when I went there before, I have been in Turkey a few years ago as well before studying there. So I felt some uh, again cultural similarities and friendship from the people. I feel there like home. And if you ask someone from Turkey who's studying as international student there, they will say the same. Like it's pretty easy to feel there like home.
Yeah, I know this feeling, and I can say that, for example, in Bilkent University, you can even just feel, another kind of culture and another version of life being, because the majority of universities in Turkey, they're really kind of international. And for example, in Bilkent, I think it's like, 50-50, like 50% of students are international ones and 50% of them are Turkish ones. So they're a mixing. And that's why you can feel from one angle the Turkish culture, the Turkish mentality, and from another part you can feel the international aspect of all this educational studying process. And that's why I know that a huge amount of students in Bilkent, they even say about the Bilkent that it's super international in this aspect. Like the students are much more international ones, even in their way of thinking. Like even the Turkish ones, the Turkish students, they're the way of how they think and how they feel, for example, their life, how they see their life, the way of living, it's much more the European one, for example, because of all this international influence on them, right?
And I want to add something more. It's about the tuition fee in Turkey. Like, you know that in Europe, studying there is too difficult for people from other countries because of the tuition fee, actually, and the quality of living. But in Turkey, the quality of living and education are the same as in Europe. but you have much more lower tuition fee. So, and plus for this, you also have scholarships for international students. So in the money aspect, it's also the right choice for us.
Yeah, I know about Turkish scholarships. They're really impressive ones. I mean, if you win one of them, it's really a big deal. I mean, it's really impressive one. But to be honest, one of the main questions of all our podcasts today is about difficulties. Because, yeah, people know about the fact that, for example, a visa is not necessary for all people who are moving to Turkey. So, for example, for Russian citizenships, we don't need to make visa, but anyway, we need to make it after 90 days of being in Turkey. So anyway, we need a student kind of visa, but it's kind of easier to attend to the Turkish university for Russian citizenships, and I think from all post-Soviet Union territory to Turkey. So, but anyway, I think that when you decided to move to Turkey, you faced maybe not many difficulties, but kind of them. So tell me, which kind of these difficulties did you face, or maybe you still face with them? Documents, language barrier, or anything else?
As you said, I also didn't have any problems with visa, and I will add something that Bilken University actually help you with the visa in the first year, so you don't have any problems with that. But I will add language barrier problems, of course. Even like everyone say that Azerbaijan language and Turkish are similar, even if you know Turkish a little bit, but you will face some challenges with this language because it's not that difficult one, but Turkish people like when you're speaking in Turkish clearly, like don't have an accent. So if you have an accent, they will notice it and they will pretend that they didn't understand you. Not all of them, but they have this one. So I will say, yeah, I have some language barriers even now. So I
Oh,
will
oh my God.
advise you to learn it at
Yeah,
first.
yeah. I really want to share my experience in that way because some people told me before I moved to Turkey that Turkish guys really like to show off in this aspect, and they're really pretending to like to look like, oh, I don't know any other foreign languages, please speak with me in Turkish. And it's kind of hard to be really friends with them with all these difficulties. And I had a really amazing story. I really liked it so much because I met with a guy and we spoke about some educational stuff, about our project, about our lifestyle, and blah blah blah. And I told him a story which could help our project, so it would increase the level of our project. And then at the end of my monologue, it was like, I was speaking for 5 or 6 minutes. I spoke kind of quick, I think so. But for me, it's okay. And I think I don't have any super specific pronunciation. So it's kind of easier to understand me. So I was speaking for 5 or 6 minutes about the super important stuff of our project. And then I asked him the final question. I asked him, like, which kind of ideas do you have, or something like this? And after 30 seconds of thinking, he told me, yep. On my question, which kind of ideas do you have? He answered me, yep. And I looked at him, okay, you understood nothing, right? And he looked at me like, oh, you spoke so quick, your pronunciation is so hard, and my level of English is so. And I was like, okay. And it's really important to mention that before studying in Bilkent, if your level of English is kind of low, you always need to have a prep school. Naila, I think you told me that you had this prep school before all the educational process. I mean, before taking bachelor degree, right?
Yeah, I had that one. And I'm really in shock that how people after this prep school still cannot speak in English that well. I mean, they can write in English. Academic writing is really nice. I mean, Turkish people, but the speaking, I mean, it's too low for them. I don't know how.
Yeah, I mean, they're living in a super English-speaking area. Bilkent is a center of English-speaking, especially in Ankara. I swear. I mean, there are a huge amount of international guys from all over the world. I mean, even exchange guys. I know that every semester there are more than 100 exchange guys coming to Bilkent, coming to Ankara. So, for example, this semester, in fall semester, there would be much more than 200 exchange students. It's really amazing opportunity to study English. I mean, to practice your speaking aspect, your speaking side. And why didn't they decide to use it, right? I mean, it's kind of useful, really. So I'm kind of shocked in that way. But maybe they just, decided to do it like this because they feel kind of insecure, still kind of insecure about the educational speaking side. But if you not practice it, you will never ever speak, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Okay, and let's speak a little bit about distinguishes of Turkey, especially distinguishes Turkey from other countries in the aspect of the educational process, because as I started our podcast, many people think that Turkish universities are kind of meh and you need to study somewhere else, but not Turkey, please. Even some parents of my friends, they told them, no, please don't find Turkey as a way of taking a bachelor or master degree, because the educational process is on a very low level. And I think that's super not right, because Turkish universities are really impressive and kind of nice in the educational system. I mean, I like the educational system even much more than the Russian one. I think it's much more progressive and up to date. It's more student orientated. What do you think about it?
Of course, I fully agree with you. So, okay, let me give some information about our education process. First, the main differences are that we don't have seminars. We have just lectures, which we attend, but seminars are something that if you want, you can attend. That there will be some seminar. It's not something mandatory, and we don't have seminars like in Russian universities or Azerbaijan one and all post-Soviet countries. The second one, I will add that Turkish process education and the teachers there are more, they're more for students. For example, we have opportunities to choose our subjects for the next semester. We can schedule by ourselves, like which hour we want, which professor we want. So everything, the full scheduling we do by ourselves. So it's much more easy so it's like for us, we did that. We are doing this. And teachers, they are more friendly with you and they always ready for help. But at the same time, they're too strict. I mean, too strict. So yeah, what else can I add?
I can just, add about the tutors and about the schedule. I really like the way that you're making your schedule by yourself, really, because in the majority of post-Soviet Union tertiary universities and in Russia especially, we have a kind of conservative way of making the schedule. So, for example, in my university, it's mandatory to attend, the schedule which is given by the administrative corpus, and it's kind of hard because, for example, right now on my final grade of university, and all my seminars, all my courses are in the central part of the day. So they start at 1 p.m. and they will end at 5 p.m. And it's kind of hard because I'm a person who is working. I'm working since after my first grade of university, and it's really hard when you have the seminars like in the central part of your day, because okay, maybe right now after 2 years I can speak with my boss, like, with my employee about, please, can I just work in the morning and then in the evening, because I have seminars in the central part of the day, and he will accept it. But for example, people who are just trying to find a job, like, it will be very hard, because you just come to a new company and you start with your own rules. No, nobody will take such employers, like, with his own rules. So it's kind of hard, and that's why I really like the Bilkent University system, and especially like because of the fact that you are making your own schedule, and you have some mandatory courses you need to take, but from another angle, you have some additional courses which you can take if you have the interest in this sphere. For example, one of my really close friends, he's studying architectural, you know him, Anas, and he's very interested. He's kind of obsessed with Russian history, especially architecture and style. So he decided to take last semester Russian history as an additional course. Or, for example, one of my friends, he's studying international relationships, but he's very interested in cinematography or something like this. So he took the course which was specialized on world cinematography. So it's really nice. I mean, you have a huge amount of opportunities in Bilkent, and I think it's really nice when the university, like, he's developing the students not only in the mandatory educational system, like this aspect, this way, but also in the additional way, where the students have their interests, their own cups of tea, as we can say. So yeah, it's really nice. And because of the tutors, I mean, yeah, you told me that they're kind of strict. I think it all depends on the person, but I can say that they're more up to date. They're really kind of progressive in the way of tutoring, and this is a really amazing way, because you see that you're developing not only yourself but with your tutor. So it's really nice when you're developing together. It's a kind of motivation, I think. So it's really amazing way.
Some, let's say, pluses about our university and opportunities. It's that we have communities and some charitable organizations, and these communities provide us with some events which actually give really which are really useful. For example, the community which I'm interested in is architecture one, of course, and our community talk with some professional architects and make the Zoom meeting with them, where we together with them analyze their works and ideas. And this one was really inspiring and useful in the middle of the semester, something that pushed us to move and give some ideas and really inspire us. But of course, there are some another side of these communities. It's for international students, there are not that much choices. I mean, most of the these organizations and communities events are in Turkish and for Turkish people. I don't really know why, because Bilkent University actually fully, like, education here fully in English, but still we have communities for Turkish people. Like, most of them are for Turkish people.
Yeah, I know this, and I think it's really important to add that, for example, when I took one of the courses, it was about the concepts of law, and when we took the final exam, the tutor told the students, the Turkish students, that if they have some problems with the writing in English, they can use the Turkish version of verbs. And I think it's all came from this aspect. I mean, when the tutors allow the students to speak in Turkish, because it's really easy to them to explain in Turkish language, or, for example, writing the final in Turkish language. Of course, when you allow every time to go back to the easy way, they will use this easy way, while they need to practice their English in all aspects. Because where is the equality? I mean, yeah, English is not my mother tongue too, but anyway, I'm speaking English during the educational process. I'm taking the final English, but the Turkish guys may use their mother tongue just to explain more in a clear way. Anyway, they have more pluses in that aspect because Turkish is their mother tongue and they can explain better and clearer than I can do it. But anyway, I think it's I mean, okay, yeah, I know that studying, especially in, for example, law sphere or international relationships in another language is kind of hard because of all these specific terms and blah blah blah. But anyway, I think it's in every field it's the same, in medicine, in architecture, in science, engineering. Anyway, different terms, specific ones. But you decided to study in Bilkent, which is a fully English speaking university where all educational process in English. And I think one of the problems, you know, they still have some courses in Turkish, so only Turkish guys can attend it. I think
Yeah.
I think it's the big problem because the official language of Bilkent is English. Just for you know the all our guests of the podcast, we really need to understand that this is the English-speaking university. The official language of this university is English. So even the staff should speak the English language. But when you, for example, go around the Bilkent University, I mean the staff in cafes or in dormitories, they're speaking Turkish. That's the problem, and that's the problem that a huge amount of international guys met. Of course, they started to practice the Turkish. They're attending Turkish courses in Bilkent. But anyway, that's the big problem that they still have some courses that in Turkish. For example, last semester I found a really amazing course. It was equality law. It's one of my specialization. I mean, I'm really interested in that field. I had written a huge amount of scientific researches about the equality law, how it works around the world, and blah blah blah. And this course was fully in Turkish. I mean, okay, I can understand when you're making the Turkish course, for example, about the constitutional law of Turkey, like, you know, the Turkish history or something else, maybe super dedicated to Turkish culture, and you need to like, you know, to make the educational process in Turkish. But when we're speaking about the equality law, which is all around the world, you need to teach it in English. I think so. It's my viewpoint, and I think, and a huge amount of international students agree with me in this aspect.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
okay, the last question, it's more about like, you know, your experience when you moved, about all the difficulties. Maybe you can give us some advice or recommendations, because I'm really interested in the question, what subtleties you need to be prepared for the moment when you're moving to study in Turkey, because it's not an open secret that I'm kind of obsessed with Turkey, the aspects of the educational process. Maybe that's why I'm right now here, and I'm trying to find a super master's program in Turkey, not only in Ankara but in Istanbul, like, you know, Koç University. So they really have a nice master's program. That's why I'm interested by myself in this question. So tell me, what subtleties I need to know if I decide to move to Turkey. Maybe you still have some problems and you want to share this experience with us, and maybe you still face with these subtleties. So all this process, like, you know, about the attending university, about moving to another country, is full of subtleties. So just share with us some of them.
It depends on which, of course, country you're moving. Let's say it's okay, we are talking about Turkey. So the problems in Turkey or difficulties are, you need to know that it's super different that you knew before about this country. It's super different that you view, see in movies or read in the internet. Because when you're there, you struggle with different details. Like, for example, for me, it was really shocked that pharmacy have time limits. They're working till the 5 and they're not working on Sunday and Saturday. I mean, it was super weird for me. So, and all these details you learn only on that place. Like, why you need to know that when you're searching the internet about education in Turkey. But the pharmacist actually import stuff. The second one is about mostly the university itself. Like, every university have their own system of education and on their own life actually. So you need to read about each university at first, because they are different, even if they are in one country. And I will advise you to learn Turkish, of course, at least 8 to 11 level, because even in taxi or in supermarkets, you will need that, of course. So, and Turkish people like when you're speaking Turkish, so you need to have some knowledge about the language and culture as well. Something that maybe can be okay for you, but in that country, of course, it will be something not okay.
Yeah, I can fully agree with you in the aspect of everything you told me about, the subtleties of attending Turkish universities. And can you give just, one piece of advice that maybe you really want to hear from somebody else before you move to Turkey and decided to attend Ankara University, Bilkent?
Okay, one advice. Just be ready. Be ready for everything. Like, there will be some difficulties, but there always will be some solutions for them as well. So you just need to be ready and don't be disappointed at first glance. You need to live there to know that actually this place is super nice, and you can find nice people as well there. You can have there a lot of opportunities and chances. So you just give time and you will find your place in Ankara.
Yes, Naila, I can agree with you in this aspect so much. Just fully, I think it's the best tagline for our podcast. Be prepared for everything. Literally, be kind of prepared for the things that you can be kind of disappointed with your decision for the first time, because just don't rush your time, like, because you will find your place. It's amazing tagline. Be prepared for everything. It's literally the tagline of this version of our podcast. Naila, thank you so much. I think it will be like, in our post, like, be prepared for everything. The first part of podcast about Turkey and Turkish experience. So our dear audience, it's the end of the first part about Turkey, because next week you will find the second part of studying in Turkish university. But I will not tell you about which aspects and questions we will speak about, and we will speak not with Naila. It will be another guest with another experience. So be ready for the second part, and just wait for the second part of this podcast, HARK&MOVE, about Turkey. And the next country about which we will speak about is Germany, because you remember that my co-host Victoria was studying in Germany for half of the year, and she had a really amazing experience. And one of her really nice friends who lived the entire life in Germany will speak with Victoria about the experience in studying and living in Germany. So you see, two different countries, two different types of experience. Be prepared for everything. The tagline of our podcast. Thank you, Naila. It was really an amazing time with you, because I really appreciate your experience, and I really appreciate the time that you decided to share with us your experience, your story. It's really amazing, because right now people can understand that sometimes even moving to another country when you're 18, it's not a big challenge. I mean, yeah, of course, it's a kind of difficulty, but this is the challenge you can overcome super easy. Thank you so much, really.
Thank you to you, Anna. It was really big pleasure for me to join this podcast, and I hope it was useful for someone who will hear it.
Yeah, I think all our podcasts are super useful. Don't even worry about that. So, dear audience, thank you for your listening to our podcast, HARK&MOVE. We are waiting you every Monday at 11 a.m. on our platform, Made Digital, where we post all our podcasts, or discussion platform, Law Lessons, where we post all our podcasts and different posts about our project, our podcast. Thank you so much. Be in touch and be prepared for everything.